from our previous interactions and all. So today I'm yet back again with one of our like I Inspire series episode. Today we have a CTO, and when I say a CTO, I mean I'm also very much excited to meet him in person. And so hi guys, how are you all? So just gear up something in the chat first, then afterwards I'll be like introducing you all to the CTO, sir. Like I should call him Swami instead of sir, or else like he will beat me like here, like saying that hey, sir, I don't break the rules. Okay, so that's what is going to be there. Hi everyone. So we are it will take some time. I mean, calling you directly with Swami and
No,
all.
no worries.
Yeah. So we are just gearing up with the students. Hi guys. How are you all? So I can see you all guys popping up from like our learning management portal and at the same time YouTube also. So yeah. So we are starting right now, and today's interview is all going to be related how to be. I mean, if you, I know that you all guys are students and working professionals, working in MNCs and all. So you all have this one budding question, which for which this I Inspire series is there. That question is how you can also make your journey to being a leader in a corporate company. Okay, so that's what I was this one of the burning questions, sir. I'm like nowhere right now, from being nowhere to being a pro like Swami, sir. That's what we guys will be decoding today, how the
Okay.
personal journey of sir being like going to a level of CTO right now and mentoring back us. That's what we will be decoding today. So, guys, I mean, are you guys excited right now? I mean, just please tell me in the chat. And so let me just introduce you all, guys, to Swaminathan, sir. So, just to give you a small, what we say, intro about him. Swaminathan, sir, started his journey in like what we say 2000, the year of 2006. Yes, am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So in the year
exactly
of
right.
in the year of 2006, Swaminathan Sara started his journey being into the product and engineering department of Shaw Technologies. I mean, like ShawMan Engineering and software engineering firm. And from there, he went to like Book My Show and like has proven his skills for being AGM. And from there, again, he came back to I mean ShawMan Software Private Limited, being a CTO. So that's a kind of like I mean an amazing thing, sir. From like the year of 2006 when you passed out of your own graduate college. From there, you went into a company and made your way up till leading a product and engineering department at ShawMan Software Private Limited. And from there again went to the other like company where you have proven of your skills and came back again. Like I went to the ShawMan, taking up the whole in charge of CTO. So how I mean like what do you think, sir? I mean, how was your whole journey from being a student to being a kind of like a CTO? I have so many questions with me right now. So I mean, even students are very much excited. And I one more thing, guys, to introduce about Swami sir is all about he never gives up on learning. At this point, also right now, he is keep on learning. I mean, learn, unlearn, relearn. That's the kind of philosophy he follows. So yeah, he is going through so many of the programs right now to keep him like very much up to date. So learning is one of the key thing which I am also understanding here after seeing your profile, sir. So thanks a lot, sir, for being with us today, and we will be interviewing you, and we will be trying to understand and decode what all the things I mean you have done. For being here at this position, and what do you feel right now? I mean, what I mean, like, what's your next goal after this thing? So we will be decoding this all. So hey guys, just please make some noise in the chat, and also yeah. So Gitika, Parmesh, and everyone else. I mean, I can see so many of the people just mentioning, okay. So as my mool mantra is here, rowdies. So let us decode more I Inspire series episode. So with Swaminathan sir, the CTO at ShawMan Softwares Private Limited. And yep, so now let's go ahead with one of the first question. So Yeah. So now, Swami, sir, I mean, better I prefer calling you Swami. Swami, how you started your journey from being a student to being a leader? I mean, what was the like key thing which was driving you enough to be a kind of leader? I want to go there. I mean, every student aspires to be. So, what were your things
So,
behind this?
Sai, first of all, thanks for the warm welcome, and it was nice connecting with you and Prasad just before the session also to get to know the good stuff that Let's Upgrade is doing, and it kind of feels happy to stay connected with the core community again through you guys, because somewhere at some point in time, back in time, I was also a part of such community which started. So, coming to the question, largely for me, it started probably the time where computers were picking up. So, it started after my 10th exams, where we were excited about the holidays after the 10th exam, after all the pressure. And I kind of joined a computer course just for the sake of not learning computers, but because I was very much interested in playing games. That's
Wow,
the core
wow,
starting
amazing.
idea. So
Which game, sir?
yeah.
Which,
So the whole intent was to take some time out, go into that course. It was a 1 hour course. Then they had friends there and play games there. That's
wow,
how
amazing.
everything started, from one game to other game to the next game. Competing with the groups, and it kind of and then the whole gist came up. While playing games, something used to come up. Things won't work. Oh, why doesn't it work? Start troubleshooting. So all of those exercises started there. It was not a known this thing. I mean, I never targeted to be a computer guy or get into product development, but then that's how it started. And I kind of started learning various courses. Then I joined NIT, saying that someone told a well-wisher told me that it's always good to have a backup plan. Don't completely rely on your education, because it will take some time. So I joined NIT, then started learning programming. I kind of saw that I was able to, successfully capture over the projects, do well, compete well, and therein all those. I started learning .NET. I started learning SQL, and then fortunately, after an year or so, I one of my friends got placed uh, at ShawMan Softwares itself, and he kind of said, "Why don't you come and join, ShawMan?" So I mean, failure teaches you. So when I first went for the interview in this company, I was not selected, because I couldn't clear up
Wow.
the machine the practical test. And through persistence, probably they called me up because they were somewhere satisfied with the overall this thing. And the second round worked out. And from there, the journey started actually. And I actually had spent around 10 years. I started as a junior software engineer at ShawMan Softwares, like everyone else. And, then thereby becoming a senior and a technical leader for certain products, and then eventually got to manage certain products of ShawMan. Core products. I was always associated with what we build. Core, we serve or we build products for the hospitality industry. When I say hospitality, it largely is the food and beverage sector, which is restaurants, hotels,
Yeah.
club. So I was associated, and I was actually a part of building the core product for the company, which was rebuilt again, I would say, and innovated again from Fox Pro to .NET, and that too at that time on the latest tech stack. So that's how my career actually kind of kicked in, and I don't know when it started and how 10 years passed by, because that's how I liked the culture of the company, the way they used to promote skills, they used to nurture talent, guide. I had a lucky stream of having good mentors. So my education at that time was not that exciting, like what an IITian or a top student goes through. That was always an up and down this thing, but my other side started building up very well. And then all of a sudden, opportunity to work with Book My Show came in, and Book My Show was a very different scale. It was my overall experience where the entire company was actually looking at the B2C segment. So at
Yes.
ShawMan, it was partly B2B and partly B2C also. I was heading the product for B2C at that time. And with Book My Show, the scale came in, the networking came in. and it automatically kind of set me on the path of understanding what exactly is important. A lot of as leaders, it is expected that we very smartly delegate our work and very smartly choose which task you have to get into, so that you can continue leading in various initiatives. So that's one thing which kind of I was able to put together correctly, and
Amazing.
that's how things started for me. And getting into that leadership mode, it automatically came in. Never felt the pressure of being a leader, because I actually work closely with the teams, sitting with them, post officers, chatting during the office also, we used to have fun. So never it kind of kicked in that you are a leader who has a pressure. But yeah, the responsibilities were very clear within us. The coordinations within each other, the respect that we had for each other, all of those kind of eventually eased out things a lot. So when I became the technology owner, which is another side, another parallel role for in Book My Show, that is what it kind of felt for me. And when I was probably looking at coming back at ShawMan with this role of CTO, it was largely into looking at what are the new initiatives that can work out, and how we can adopt to the latest happenings for our product. So that's another line of innovation that kind of kicked in within the company. So that is how my entire journey has been. It hasn't been I won't say it has been ordinary. It has been a roller coaster, but of lately things seem to have come down to the right path. And lucky enough that in spite of the educational ups and downs, I kind of settled in at a reasonable age, and kind of got good network of friends and colleagues who keep on pouring in information. And today coming to Let's Upgrade and chatting with you and all the students who are looking, kind of gives a sense of achievement also, in that essence.
Amazing, amazing. So thanks a lot. I mean, thanks a lot for accepting our invite. I mean, to interview. That's a kind of a privilege for us. And I mean, the way you have shared your journey, right, from being a kind of a gamer in the very start and started with playing games. I want to know, sir, which game, I mean, it was. I mean, back in that days, I mean, which one, do you remember that?
Somewhere you and I will not laugh, but the students who have joined probably should definitely laugh. It was actually Aladdin, which was a DOS game.
Oh, I remember Aladdin. I remember
Yeah.
Aladdin.
So I had friends who could easily beat me for levels, and that's sort of how can they beat me, and that's kind of a thing that started. Then obviously Pac-Man was another thing which we used to play at that time. So during school, Pac-Man was the most kind of
Yep,
competitive.
yep, yep.
So we
Amazing.
had like 4 lectures in a week, and out of 4 lectures, one lecture was to play games.
Wow.
So that was the most enjoyment time for me, and that is it.
Now, sir, I mean, gaming-based programs are being launched. I mean, in India right now, they're getting released. I'm like, wow, yeah, their only job is to be a gamer. Be a gamer, their job is. I mean, like, such an amazing thing is happening right now. The shift.
Imagine they imagine they getting paid for it also.
Yes, yes, they are getting paid for it. Amazing job, right? I mean, that's happening up in India right now. I
If
mean,
we
just
had if we had that choice, we wouldn't have been here. We will be playing games only in that essence.
Yep, 100%, sir. Okay, so now, I mean, that's an amazing thing, sir. I'm connecting all the dots and writing down. I mean, just to make sure my whole this notebook. Okay, so now, I mean, one more question I have. Okay, what were actually in these many years from 2006 to 2021 right now, so in these many years being a working professional, from a student and from working professional to being a kind of a thought process leader, and at the same time leading your own team, software owner, so what were your three biggest achievements? What were the three biggest achievements till date, I mean, which you are very proud of? I mean, like, yes, Sai, I mean, these three things, these times, I mean, I felt like, wow, these are the achievements, three achievements.
One of the plus points is I mean I realized that these are achievements after I had achieved them, and after 6 months time, or someone came back and said, oh man, you are the one who actually did it. So one of the big ones is with ShawMan only. I very closely nurture that. Was like I said in my intro, that building a product which was earlier built on an older technology for that streak. The product was very strong for the industry, and I was probably lucky enough to be able to rebuild entire modules of that product and then go ahead and deploy it one of the customers' places. Although it is beta, but then we deployed there. I looked up the scale at which my product, which I built, which was actually used by the users. A lot of time you don't get to see that entire journey. For us
Yeah.
who are tech,
Yeah.
we build and then we rely on someone else to kind of use our products and kind of give us the feedback. But I was lucky enough that I went there, I kind of installed the product, interacted with the customers. I had my mentor with me, obviously, but the product also went through a lot of ups and downs in terms of revision of scope. It's a common thing for us, the techies, working techies, to go through. Once we feel that we are completing something, the scope changes.
Yes.
That's a common problem statement which I also faced. But luckily, I sticked around, managed that, was able to see the effect. When I came back, the perspective that I carried back was different. So I felt that was one thing. And then later on, a month or two or later, someone came up and said, do you know that your product has got deployed at these numbers of installations? And I actually didn't know about that. It was actually our managing director, Mr. Jimmy, who came and said that, your product has got deployed at, 200 plus installation places. Did you ever come to know about that? And that at that moment, for that 1 second or 2 second, I felt like, oh shit, I achieved something well. Okay,
Amazing.
the struggle paid off. It sound better. So that was one of the thing. For all of us, when we are into tech and we are writing code or we are building data structures, for us, we get too much technical in nature. So the second probably I feel was, getting myself. It's kind of a very not so appreciated achievement, but I feel that it was an accomplishment when I completed my MBA, because for someone, this was told to me that the reason I should pursue MBA was, when you are into tech, there are a lot of other aspects also. When you have to go into a leadership mode, you need to know other concepts also. You need to know how accounting works. You need to know how law works. You need to know how people management, or what are the different kinds of people that you will have to work with. So MBA kind of opened that entire options, and I at least started. I got kind of a guideline. What I have to look into. So
Yeah.
completing that with reasonable I won't say bad, but then I scored well. I did well in that essence, and it kind of helped me. Not the theoretical knowledge, but at least it kind of created a checklist. These are the things that I should do. If not anything, then at least these things I should do. So that was another accomplishment which I feel I cherish about. The third is, obviously, I never imagined myself being a CTO so early, getting into this kind of a leadership position. It comes with its own challenges and excitement. But yeah, coming into this kind of a leadership position, architecting stuff, working with people who think 5 to 10 years ahead, of what the vision is about. Speaking to you guys who bring up creative ways for learning, speaking to people who build products which we never thought could exist. All these kinds of information coming is somehow gives me that the achievement is now kind of taking me to the next level. So being in this position of heading an engineering division, product and engineering also, I feel at this moment is kind of a big achievement for me in that essence.
Amazing, sir.
Very
Amazing. Like,
but at this moment, I mean, I'm pretty much happy with what I have right now, at least.
amazing, sir. Like, that's I mean great. I mean like seeing your own product getting deployed in front of, and like seeing that it's being interacted and used by the people, that I completely understand. Completing, I mean, your MBA and the third one. I'm like MBA is itself like people don't understand what's the kind of like importance it has. I mean like it actually puts us in that container, and where people can understand about yes, how this perspective works, how that perspective works, and how that other perspective also works. So I mean that perspective is something which is a great part. And lastly, like CTO at such an, I mean like early part of the career is like it's amazing. It's these all the someone trusting us and deploying us for being a kind of in charge for so many products and a kind of
Yeah.
like acting with the client. It's I mean a different level achievement altogether. Thanks a lot for sharing these three accomplishments. Now I have a kind of tricky question to you, sir. The third one. It's like tell us the three things which you like and about your current position, three things which you don't like about your current position, dislikes and likes of your current position being a CTO. So what are that? I'm very much interested to know that part right now.
Yeah, the likes are easy to say. The dislikes come with the job profile. So uh, the
Yeah.
likes are that I've been surprised from time to time how technology has evolved, and what I like about is that every time when I feel that oh, now I know the tech stuff, and this is the next thing, something else comes up, and it keeps on challenging me again and again. You don't know anything. You right now have to still catch up. There are bunch of more people. Even if we look at the students group here, and the different verticals that they are learning, I have not yet touched upon half of those verticals also. In that essence, it never kind of required till now, but also it's an eye opener that I have to. So the likes is that it kinds of gives me a roadmap on how I should progress, helps me keep upfront understanding what the industry looks like, not only just the industry that I am catering to, but also the industry outside, also the industry of my past organization that I have worked upon. So that's one thing. The second thing that I like about is that I came across a lot of people, a lot of other people who build products which we can use as software development firms, starting from security, starting from processes, starting from learning, and it gives me opportunity to connect people. So one of the things when my mentor told me that I should get an MBA course, the reason it was not just the knowledge that I would gain, but it was also the network that I could form, and it will help me in great essence. So this position also helps me connect with people and understand what are the offerings, whether we choose it or not. So which earlier didn't used to come very easily. Now it comes with easily, and it comes at a good quantum for us to think through and decide. So that's one thing I like about it, because it eases out a lot of things when you're working at a leadership position. You should be resourceful, and you should always have a choice to select what option you want. When you don't have a choice as a leader, you kind of become restrictive, and then you will become at some point in time redundant and probably replaceable also. So the one thing that as a leader, or as a even as a tech guy, you always can be competitive is when you know what is the next thing that you have to look into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somewhere people feel that you will get you get disaligned from your original goal, but that's not how it works. The more you know knowledge, the more is you appreciate it by your company also, and by the people around you in the community also. So that's it gives me opportunity to go back to the community and speak to people. So that's another thing that I like about it. The third is I like to is like to connecting with people in the education forum, like through Let's Upgrade and through other institutions also, where I get to know that what they are trying to learn, and what is whether they are trying to kind of look into the right way or not, and if this is what it is happening, then in that essence, are we aligned ourselves in that direction or not? So both of these things kind of gives us a heading on where we have to actually move in the next direction. In that essence, it's essential while you align it back to your company or organization level goals and what the industry demands. You need to be aware. So that comes as the third part. Uh, Now coming to dislikes. I certainly can't put a pinpoint on what I dislike, because I never thought about, I dislike something. I somewhere found that something is tedious. Like one of the texts, I find that, oh, this is tedious. Yeah. I mean, there are simpler ways to do it. Why do I do this? But it's very difficult to say that I dislike something. I think I haven't reached that stage yet. In that essence, I definitely disliked not doing MBA as a part of this thing. That was a strong motivation. But then I repent, and after that it was a learning that, never say no to anything or never dislike. Keep the options open. But given the current positions, the kind of network that I also have to deal with and manage, it comes with a bit of stress, where you get challenged across on a lot of terms. Certain things, your beliefs also get challenged. When you meet a variety of people, your core beliefs and if you have an ethical boundary, those get challenged from time to time. That's one bit I kind of hesitate, because then you have to get from an innovation mode to a negotiation mode.
Yeah.
So that it's essential from my position. But as a person and as an individual, I don't appreciate. I feel that if you're doing things for good, things should come for a good, but that doesn't work that way in the real world. You have to be smart. You have to be intellectual in understanding where things are heading at the right moment. If you delay even by a day, it can cost you things.
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm happy about from my current position. Probably this is very early learning, but yeah, it's an important learning. But that's the only thing I dislike at this moment, at least. There are no three things to put to across as such.
Got it. I'll note it down everything. I'll summarize it like from the roadmap. Like you learn from the like what we see the technology aspect. I mean, this grows in every day in day out. It challenges
Yeah,
you up like every day, and connecting people and like what we say. With the help of your MBA, you got to know this part that I mean, connecting to the people is what I mean you like the most right now. And then after coming to the dislikes part of it, I mean, tedious things can be done. I mean, why so much efforts? I mean, this can be done in a plain manner. So that's one thing. I mean, stress is something. And when you mentioned stress, I was just thinking to ask you about how are you managing so your work life balance or something like that. I mean, because that becomes very much on a different level altogether. So what do you think about it?
yeah. I mean, initially when I was into technology or building stuff, not into the leadership role, I was a core techie guy. In that essence, it was more of, the stress was very positive. But as and when you move into a leadership role, you find that, work-life balance is important, because if you need to keep on making decisions, you need to be in the right state of mind. In that essence, that is something which needs to be managed definitely for all of us. A lot of times when we as techies start our journey, we feel that, clocking late night hours works makes sense. It kind of brings in the appreciation. It doesn't work that way. It kind of somewhere I also realized it very late, and which is when then I started bringing in discipline. With a lot of help, I had to interact with my superiors for a lot of time, on how things have to be worked out. Because there will be a straight expectation mismatch when you all of a sudden switch from late night mode to a disciplined of 9 to 6 or 10 to 7 mode, and be available only for critical things. So how do you balance that is important. It's essential that you go through both the phases, you understand the importance of both. But as and when you decide that you want to move into a leadership position, it is important for us to have that balance. Otherwise, the decisions goes for a toss. From my case, that kind of transition started, and I kind of was able to get into that mode. COVID did, or I won't lie, but COVID has kind of put things back again upside down. Because a lot of times you have to be push yourself to get the industry rolling and other stuff. But things are again coming back to stable. We are getting into that discipline mode again. Wherein the balance is very important. So discipline is what an individual needs. You should be very sure that you need to cut off your work at some time. Maybe take a break of 2 to 3 hours. If something is important, then recan. But that break is important because it kinds of you disconnects. A lot of times problems get solved. When you're continuously looking at a problem for 3 to 4 hours, or say 6 hours, you're not moving anywhere. A break is what solves the problem. It helps you reconnect the dots, saying that, okay, this is something I tried, let me try some other way. That has worked a lot for me. Resetting at the right point in time. Sometimes scrap whatever you have done till now and start again, see whether that solves the problem. And I was surprised, and even my peers who work with me, they are surprised. How did we not think about this earlier? So that balance is what actually helps you solve the problem. Continuous working doesn't, is what I have understood, and I'm still learning. I won't say that I am myself 100% implementer of the same. But yes, that attempt and that thought process is there, and it is very essential. Is what I feel, that you should have that balance. The thought process that working continuously kind of earns you something, it kind of degrades your overall skill after a longer period of time.
Got it, sir. Got it. Thanks a lot, I mean,
So
for that.
age becomes a factor
I,
at some point in time.
I will be implementing this into right now. I mean, like, because as you mentioned, I'm in the second. I'm still in that first mode only. Continuous work and get this thing done, or else like it will be pending kind of. So yep, even I'm trying to like implement that kind of like, okay, so we need to cut off and do something else. So it's like not happening for me myself. So yes, I mean, looking up to you, kind of making that sense to me. Yes, yeah. I mean, a techie is always like this, and it's not. I mean, like what we say, they love to, I mean, continuously work, but I mean, we need to do that, or else like it's not it will not happen, and top of it, it will not be good in a longer period of time. I completely agree that. Thanks a lot for that input. And now let's, I mean, one more question, sir. This is like what other CTOs or CEOs, I mean, you look up to? I mean, who are those? I mean, if at all you have to mention, I mean, like top three or like something in this.
I have seen a lot of people, leaders answering this question. It's essential to have a role model, for you to grow in your career. Unfortunately, I feel an odd man out who doesn't have one specific person. But from the stream of work that I do, it kinds of it differs from situation to situation. So if I am looking for someone when I am into a leadership problem, then I look someone like MS Dhoni, who has made dramatic effect in the world of cricket for at least Indian cricket. Yeah, and if it comes to building products, innovating, who other than Steve Jobs can give us the answer for that? So, thinking on what all here. So often at times when I'm thinking of a problem, I tend to look at videos of interviews of people in that stream to kind of sense what they are thinking, and what it comes off is Steve Jobs standing in that podium and taking out the iPod for the first time, which was a small device, and it kind of wowed all the people. So that's kind of sets an expectation. So from situation to situation, the role model keeps on changing. There's no one role model. When it comes to showcasing or being humble when you reach at a certain stage, who other than Mr. Tata himself to show us the way out? How humble he is in terms of his. There are a lot many to name for in that essence. If you feel that you are in the loss, in the biggest trouble at a leadership position, just think about Mr. Narendra Modi. For that case, what is the trouble that he is going through? Even in spite of having all the advisories and the top people in the country, the challenge that is. So sometimes it kind of bring you back. Okay, TK, my problems are not that big of a problem. I can still look into that. So there's no one name, but yeah, different. My own mentors within my company, my managing director, the CEO, my earlier CEO, who kind of motivated me. They have been kind of my role models when I was actually growing. I wanted to think the way they used to think. It's difficult. I yet have not even achieved 5% of it, to be very frank. But then it's kind of when I was working in that kind of an environment, I was looking at those two people only. Only when I came out and kind of started looking, it kind of put me into that film. What is the challenge that they must have gone through, and today when I come at this leadership position and look back down, I know that when one person is doing something, I was there in that position doing the same thing when, and what
Yeah.
I'm telling you today, I was told by someone on the top also. So
Yep, yep.
that makes you feel, they themselves are the role models. So often we tend to look at role models outside the people whom we interact with, but you have role models within your own network, within the people whom you interact. So why not catch up with them? So that's what I look up to in that essence, and it helps me a lot in that essence. Having a fixed role model, no, I don't have anyone as a fixed role model. Yes, some people will say you are wrong, you should have someone, but I mean, as far as it is helping me in a positive way, it's fine to
Yeah.
differ with in that sense.
Situational based role models, I mean, from MS Dhoni to, I mean, Steve Jobs, and based on situation. That's amazing, sir. Well, like, this is good. I mean, good to hear from you. And now next, I mean, moving to the next part of it. how do you, I mean, I'll club two questions. Okay, I'll just club two questions in one. It is like, how do you spend your time and work life balance? That's partially been answered, but I still want to go through that once. At the same time, what kind of challenges do you face in your day-to-day life as being a CTO? So what are the challenges, I mean, you face day to day, in and out? At the same time, like, how you manage your time there?
So let me kind of break it down into two different parts because both seem
Okay.
linked, but they are not. So work-life balance, the way I try to kind of implement is obviously work takes the most part of the day in that essence, but it's the hours after the work and the offs that you have generally on a Saturday, Sunday, or is what you can make the most out of it. Obviously family comes during at all times. You need to be with your family at all the times. Work from home has given us that advantage. You are there for the family. You might not be
Yeah.
physically available all the times, but then you are close to them, if they need you. So
Yes.
that's all one of the problems. It also opens a Pandora box to think for all of us from the leadership position. Is this the working style that we can look at? A lot of companies are looking out now that work from remote is an option. You don't need to be in physical office. So that kind of helps you to, kind of get the work-life balance. But the critical factor that kicks in is the discipline part of it. So I do try to cut off my work. I take breaks in between. When I take the breaks, I try to do things that I want to do, be it like watching series, or be it like watching movies, be it like chatting or having a video chat with friends, reading stuff. I'm not a big, I kind of a book reader, but I like to read small stuff. I don't have that much amount of patience to look at a book and read and understand and connect with the story. That's not me. But then I like to read articles. Look, articles vary. If you ask me, I read articles which are related to Hollywood, related to Bollywood also. I mean, people
Yes.
think that that's rubbish, but then it's a distraction. I mean, think of it as a distraction. It's good to know what is happening. It's good to be aware of what is happening. So that's kind of a distraction. So these distractions kind of help me achieve the balance in some way or the other. At sometimes I don't do anything. I mean, there are
Got it.
Saturdays I don't do anything. I mean, no thinking, nothing. Simply sit down, whatever comes, take it at the way. If it has to go out, go out. Sometimes riding on a bike kind of excites me. That's one of the things that I like very much about. So that's one thing that I definitely do. So every day, at least minimum of half an hour of bike ride, because that's something I like. Some people like cycle, people like walking. So that's one thing. So of the n number of things that you probably could achieve in a day or not, one thing definitely needs to be achieved is a bike ride and a good hours of sleep. So if you can do that, that's the best work-life balance that you can give, and be with your family for the maximum time. So that's what I try to do. Whenever my parents need me for anything, I am there. Whenever my friends want me to go out and hang out, I am there. So that's also an important factor. A lot of times in the early stages of our career, we compromised a lot of things. I also did. Friends and everything. "अरे नहीं यार, बाद में मिल लेते हैं, चल जाएगा." I mean, they are not running away anywhere for the next 10, 15 years. So they are here only. So I should focus on my career. Big mistake. The times which have passed, they never come back. The friends, sooner or later, they get, busy in other stuff. We all get busy in that sense. So that balance is important. A good person who is well in career and family is the one who is successful, not who is biased towards one side. One who has achieved technology but has lost a lot of things. That doesn't make us a good person. So the earlier you understand, the better. So that's what I now keep on thinking myself, that even though you want to achieve some things, these things also matter. And this has been told by a lot of people, family and friends, all of these things are important. So it's nothing new in the market to be said. That's the learning that each one of us goes through. So
Got it.
that's
Got it.
that's about the work life balance. Coming to the challenges that I face day to day is, a lot of times my job profile, or the position that I am requires as a leader, requires me to interact people with a wide range of thought process and wavelength that they carry. So kind of a thought process of a intern who is starting just now, and the thought process of a senior guy who is starting out. Now, what you articulate to them is very important. For an intern, he doesn't know what a success or failure sounds like. It is the leader who teaches him that this is success and this is failure. So it is very essential for us to see kind of and tell them that this is what your success is. A lot of times, a lot of industries have now moved in that direction where failure is acceptable if you have tried it. If you're tried at solving a problem and then failed, it is fine. Earlier, that was not a this thing. Failure was a sin. If you failed, you are screwed. But industries, and especially in the IT side, and with a lot of leadership people speaking out, it has become relevant now that failing is not a problem. But if you fail without trying it, that is definitely a downside for your career. So
Yeah.
failure is a problem. So how do you articulate these things to the interns? You have a lot of things to say, but then you have to translate it. So that's one of the biggest challenge that I carry. I might have a good thought process, but it's of no use if I'm not able to articulate that thought process back to the people who have actually to work upon and deliver stuff for us. So that's one of the big challenge, which also comes as a challenge in communicating stuff to your team. The second challenge is how do you bring about what is happening outside back into your organization and translate it to the people, because they are well trained and equipped to work in a specific culture.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
organization has its own culture of working, and when new people come in, this especially happens with people who are senior, who are coming in at a technical leads position or a product manager's position. They are actually going through a cultural shift. How
Yeah.
do you help them achieve that cultural shift? How do you explain them the gaps? How do you explain them, kind of this is what is the benefit of this culture and how it works well for us, and how that culture probably doesn't work for us, or we have not tried it yet. So translating these are quite complicated. They might sound very easy when we speak to each other at a high level, but when on ground it comes to translating it, those are actual challenges today. I have not been able to completely achieve. There are a lot of leaders who must have achieved this, with most experience and most knowledge. But that's one of the challenges that I'm still seeing, that every day is a new example. To yesterday also we did a hiring, and when I was talking to the candidate, the thought process that candidate had was quite different from other five people I spoke about. And
Yeah.
for a second, I kind of stepped back and said, what should I tell this guy on what is the next steps? Then I kind of interacted, tried to understand and kind of break it down to him that this is step 1, 2, 3 that we are looking out for. Then let's progressively see what are going to be the next steps. So that translation is very important. He has a lot of questions. How do you kind of bring in or fill in that gap, where the expectation of the candidate and the organization, because you are forming a team and the team
Yeah.
is supposed to have one goal. If the team starts having different goals, and then that's the big mess. So you have to kind of try and fill in that gap. So that's the biggest challenge as a leader that everyone faces. And I'm no new candidate for that, at least in that essence.
I mean, I'm understanding, sir. From the cultural shift side, I mean, I haven't gone through it yet. I mean, but at the same time, I can understand it because of one thing that, from a candidate's perspective, I may be working in an XYZ company. Then, as I shift to some XY other company, so what happens is like, there the people they work, the way, I mean, they may be reporting, the way they may be like putting up their MISs, or they may be putting up their all the kind of like their own process line. Okay, that the SOPs are totally different from organization to organization. And what happens is like when you don't have a kind of like it's a big cultural shift from here to there. So I mean, having the candidate there, I mean, right place, it's a very big challenge, and I am like still thinking, how are you handling it? Okay, so I was on day-to-day basis. So
We
that's
all are still learning for that in that essence. So that will keep on happening.
Got it. And so one more coolest part is that, I mean, when you mentioned about that articulating part, I mean, articulating a success or a failure to a intern, even an intern, and from intern to right away till, I mean, all the people who are working for the company, the articulation is like something which is very big thing which you have mentioned right now.
Yeah, it's very common in students coming out of college and joining a corporate to not ask questions. It's very common. They feel that if I go and ask my superior on how this is to be done, he will think that my all education is a waste. I am a waste. I don't know anything. But that's not how today's leaders think. Today's leaders are more open to understanding A right leader probably is more open to understanding what a candidate or a new intern is going through, and kind of break it down for him. Imagine asking a kid to clean his room. This is the best example that I have ever heard. If you tell him to clean the room, he doesn't know where to start with and where to end with. But if you tell him, okay, pick up that cloth and put it in that box, that's one step achieved. He also feels a sense of accomplishment that, he achieved something. Whether that is
Yes.
magic or not is not his call. But then when you broke it down into steps for that kid, the room gets cleaned in a manner. He feels a sense of accomplishment instead of feeling that he failed to clean a room. That's a big difference. Feeling that I failed to clean a room and feeling that I achieved something. Maybe it is not 100%. It's a big difference in someone who is starting fresh. So at times that becomes very important to kind of break it down to your interns. That's the maximum time you need to spend. As if you are leading a team, you need to spend maximum time with your team, understanding on what they are doing, where they are failing. And there is no one rule book for all the team members. Every team member is unique. You need to alter your course of action. That's what a leader, actually the biggest challenge of a leader or a product manager or a technical lead is. Only the vertical or the functional difference changes. A product guy is looking at the product, a technical lead is looking at the technical skill sets of an employee. That's the only
Yes.
difference. The ground rule books remain the same in that essence. So very essential, and very essential for students who are listening. Trust me, asking questions these days is not a problem. Go and ask. If you keep quiet, that's the biggest mistake, and that's the biggest problem. I mean, you are choosing in that essence. So consider this as ask the right questions. Don't ask the same questions again. Try to learn and then rectify your questions or modify your questions to suit that. Only when you do something repetitive, it becomes a challenge. But then if you're asking questions, then your manager also feels, or your supervisor also feels, this guy is interested. He's trying to learn. So let me help him out. He will somewhere down the line kind of repay in terms of, something or the other in that essence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
essential.
Amazing inputs. Amazing input for all the students, because I mean, every one of us think that I mean, no, yeah, I mean, asking too many questions is like, oh, no, we should not. I mean, but I mean, as you mentioned it right now, I mean, asking is like make sure that I mean you are interested enough into that process. It actually it keeps a different perspective there. That's an amazing point, sir. Now, I mean, like going to the next question is like, what have been the biggest letdown in your career so far? I mean, everyone, I mean, has their own letdowns. Like, यार, I mean, ये नहीं करना था, यार ये क्या हो गया? I mean, like something like that. So, I mean, what was that one biggest one? If at all it's shareable or something like that.
Uh, I haven't seen that much in the past, because the way, yes, during the difficult times, I did feel that whatever I did was wrong. Choosing something like as simple as working on .NET was a big mistake. Working on SQL was a big mistake. Joining a software development firm was a big mistake. When the product didn't do well, everything was a problem at that point in time. But when you look at holistically, the biggest letdown probably would have been that the realizations that I had, what I learned these days, if I could have learned, I could have been more into my senses to learn it a bit earlier. They could have kind of shaped me differently a bit earlier also.
Yeah.
But having said that, I am someone who doesn't like to stay hold in the past. I do remember a lot of stuff in the past. I can still remember what is the first thing that I did when I joined ShawMan. In that essence, I still recollect a lot of code base that I have written in the past for various products within the company. It takes is opening the source and looking why I wrote something at that point in time, and then this was what I was told to me, and that is why I wrote this thing. So never mind that there. But there's no big letdown as such that I feel that, yes, one thing is since I also got things worked out well in the computer stream for me. I got started with games, got into the company, started building products, and then moved on. Education didn't kick in for me as it did for everyone else. As a student, a lot of people, in fact, majority of them have an aspiration. मुझे engineer बनना है. After engineer, I either go to states or I will work with a big company. I'll earn a handsome
Yeah.
salary,
Yeah.
and my life is settled. And then I will kick on my career. It's not that they don't have aspirations, but they have those consistent aspirations. for me, the letdown was, my education always was an up and down this thing,
Yes.
and
Yep.
somewhere down the line, till the time I did my MBA, I was of like, education is of no use. Anyways, I'm doing good in my career, so education. But that was not right. People come to me and ask, what is the next thing that I should do, and I will like, you are asking the wrong guy. If you are asking an education, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a good example out of it. There are many more examples. Go and ask them. But then
Yeah.
I would have, if you ask me today, what would I have done differently? I would definitely have tried to focus more on my education, probably to stand in the same. But then there is alternate thought process also. If I had done that way today, I wouldn't have probably been in this place also.
Got
So
it. Got it.
there's no point in holding on to that. But yeah, that's one thing I would have probably tried to do a bit. Never took those things that seriously. यार पास हो गए, अच्छे numbers आ गए, that's fine
Bas
for us.
done. Khatam.
कुछ कर लिया उधर तक ठीक है. Once I started working, the most of the dreams are that you should get a good job, you should get a good salary, and you should start working. That thing I achieved. So education, whether it happens or not, that time that was my thought process, but it doesn't work that way. It's not a this thing. You need to have an educational background. Cases like me probably are one of the exceptions, not a general this thing, and a lot of people fall in the general criteria. So education is important. I did realize that MBA, doing my MBA course, learning different aspects, how they matter. So that did help me. So that's also education. So that matters to more. So there's no letdown as such, but yeah, I mean, that's one thing I could have done differently in that essence.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, like education part. I mean, like पहले पता होता है MBA से इतना ज़्यादा life sort हो जाता पहले कर लेते.
पहले कर लेते हैं.
So
Other students are quite sorted, no? Once they do the engineering, I mean, I have my own friends as an example. They are very sorted. Engineering
yes.
earlier, they have a good job. Now they are doing their party. Some are doing their PhDs, some
Partly,
are doing their MBAs. I mean, they are quite sorted. I mean, I never was that sorted in that essence.
Still, I mean, like you're doing amazing, right? That's a different thing. I mean, you mentioned, right? Many people are general, but I mean, I'm kind of like exceptional. Don't take my example and like be like, मैं नहीं करूँगा अभी मैं. So don't take. Okay, that was amazing. Okay, now then moving on to the.
I often get afraid. Someone who is listening to me telling another person that you should pursue your education and do this and that. I am afraid that someone doesn't come. Even my own parents don't come and say, "You never did those things," but you are asking someone else to do it. How right you are.
Yeah.
Theory, when you're telling something, you should do your education, but you do what you like. But education is a must. That kind of an advice, sometimes it can backfire also.
Yes.
But
Yes. Yes.
fortunately,
I
I
mean,
never been asked this question yet. Neither by my parents nor by my friends. All have been patient to listen to me. So that way, I'm blessed.
किसी ने अगर पूछा नहीं यार आपने तो नहीं किया था अभी सबको बताया जा रहे हो. No one has come and asked you it. I mean, okay, fine. So that's good thing, right? I mean, okay. So now I mean, like next question is like something in every person's journey. There is a time when you think that yeah, these are so many challenges. There are so many challenges. सब कुछ ही गलत जा रहा है. सभी कुछ गलत जा रहा है. Okay. So now how like you might have even thought about like because I mean it happens with many of the people. They think about like quitting. छोड़ो यार ये सब. I mean, like, just leave this part, okay? But how did you overcome that all situations? I mean, and what did you, I mean, see that time? Like, no, I can like overcome this thing with these kind of steps and all, and then how you got back to the course or something like that. So, anytime happened this situation?
I think of all the good and bad things that happened, one thing that definitely happened good to me was, I was surrounded by good mentors in that essence. They played a lot of important role, whether you take their advice or not is an individual's choice, but having mentors, listening to them gives you a lot of options. So yes, there were so many times during my early stages of career, when I started, I was not happy with the remunerations that I carry. I was not happy about it. I felt like, leaving the job and looking at somewhere else. There were times when like I said, the product that I was building, it was not getting over. I thought that product will never get happen. Felt like, why should I then pursue? I should probably look at some other job on a handsome salary and move on. There were thought processes in that time, but what I did differently probably when today I sit and think is I probably dodged all those at that point in moment, for some time. So today, if I hit up with a problem saying that, I'm not happy, dodge it for a week's time. Then look at it again, probably by the week's time you have forgotten about it, or then you have come to a consensus saying, no, this is something which is bothering me, then I should look into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's step one. Try to dodge it, not for a long time, but try to dodge it for some time, at least for 2 days. Dodge it, see how things settle, because often it has happened that things have settled over a period of time. Some things have settled in a week's time, something have settled in 6 months' time, some things have settled in a year's time. Let me tell you one example also. When I keep up bringing my MBA education, but I did complete my MBA education the second time. The first time I did my MBA was a part time. Obviously, I did a part time MBA course. It was quite
Yeah.
hectic. It somewhere felt that I couldn't do it, and I left that course at that point in time because things did not happen rightly with the institution where I was enrolled into. I
Yeah.
somewhere felt that I was it was unfair to me after following all the processes. So I left it. And I said I will do something else after some time. But luckily, my mentor and CEO at that time came up, and he persisted and insisted that you need to do that because I know you as a technical person, you are very strong, and you need to do. So having that mentorship and telling you, in spite of you thinking differently, this is the way is what you should look up to. Kind of helps you kind of get over that feeling of whether you should quit or you should not quit. So have listen to people, whether you take their inputs or whether you don't is a choice that you have. Every one of us has someone close to discuss matters. Some have parent. For me, it was my parents, a few handful of mentors and friends with whom I used to discuss problems, and with whom I used to tell them I feel like quitting. I'm not interested. So speaking to people, opening up, and kind of listening to what feedback they have does help you a lot. It doesn't undermine you as an individual. Speak to the right people, obviously. Don't speak to someone who is kind of in a competition mode, because then it doesn't help. The other person is trying to kind of enforce his thought process over you. So speaking to the right people is what I feel helped me a lot. And dodging largely even today, if I feel that yeah, this is not working, let me drop it. So
Yeah.
I really dodge it for some time and leave it and see how things transpire. I mean, within a weeks or time, so the things change, and then certainly I feel that okay, now I can capitalize the situation. So now the situation has changed. These are the options. Let's work on these options. And even after that, after doing all of this, if things are still not going that way, it's probably an indication that you need to change your course of action. Then definitely you should think of quitting or trying to pursue something. See, quitting is put negatively in this phrase or in this discussion that quitting is a bad thing. Quitting is not a bad thing. Quitting is good when you're trying to change your course of action for something
Yeah.
you earlier felt was achievable, but now you have realized it, you have given your 200% to it, and now you feel that now this is not going to work out and not no longer feeling interested. Then you keep on hanging to it, you are kind of declining your career. So at that point in time, you should change. You should quit one thing and start yourself into the other. A lot of startup companies start in this fashion. They get bored of the corporate life and they feel that they can do stuff differently. Few succeed, few don't succeed. It doesn't mean that those who did not succeed were wrong. They kind of had the guts to do things differently. They did quit what they were earlier doing. So quitting is not negative. So
Got it.
don't think of quitting as negative. Think of it as that uh, during the due course of time, you are being given the opportunity to think on your approach and kind of see whether what you're doing makes sense to you, or you have a choice to move on after putting 100 or 200% into what you are doing. Quitting before that is definitely a person's mistake. If you have not put your 100% and you are quitting, then there is definitely something that you need to think upon. Okay, so quitting is not a problem, but think through, discuss, and then take wise decisions on when to quit and when not to quit. That's what matters for me, and that's how I have been doing it, and that's what I would suggest, or I generally suggest people कि भाई थोड़ा देर रुक जाओ और देख ले कैसे जाता है, and then take
Yeah.
a call.
Got it. Dodging is what I mean. I got to know that thing. I mean, like today, I mean, like yeah, थोड़ा देर रख के रखो side में, बाकी बात like दिमाग चलेगा तो बाद में आ जाओ. That's one.
Because
And
you are so into it that the only thing that will come out at that point in time is to quit.
yeah, yeah,
You have made up your mind. You need to take a step back and think through, saying that is that really what I want? A lot of people, a lot of interviews, leaders have said this, that you need to think through on what is your core objective, what is it that you are trying to achieve, and why did you start in first place.
yeah.
So that matters. If that reason is far different from what you are in the situation right now, yes, definitely quit and start something else. So that's a known secret. But then that's what we are, all have been doing, who have been trying to achieve this problem statement, at least in that essence.
Yeah, got it, got it. I mean, amazing thing. Even not only for the students, for me also, it's something like that. I mean, which I am taking today. Like for me, I mean, like running this Let's Upgrade. So I mean, stopping and like think by what all the things maybe like it can be done differently, and you will get a kind of thanks a lot. I mean, I'm facing few certain challenges right now in Let's Upgrade with our students, and I mean, like few what we say accountings and all. I'm just thinking what are the solutions. So yeah, this will help me into that. Thanks a lot for this. I mean, I'm very helpful for you. At
My
least you are mentoring me right now. I mean, like it's like that.
You
So
never know.
thanks.
You are probably mentoring me to think all these things also in that
No, no, no.
essence. They are in the
Yeah,
back of my mind, but when talking to you and when understanding that I am speaking to 3,000 plus students, it does make me revisit. So it helps both ways. It's never one way in that essence.
I'm thinking. I mean, thank you all the students and all. Also, I mean, Let's Upgrade. We have created a platform, but I am thinking this all right now. Yeah, so I'm getting few aspects in my mind. I'll think about it. Okay, now next one is like so. I mean, we are ending. We are like heading towards the end of the whole interview, and like maybe max 10 minutes, and we will take I mean 2 3 questions which we see. All the students who are watching us right now, just please I mean put up the questions. I will pick up like the two best questions which we feel that yes these are amazing. So just put up your questions there right now into the what we say the chat boxes, and I will be like getting back to you guys. Okay, in the meantime. From the LMS, I will be like taking one, and from YouTube, I will take one. Okay. So now, in the meantime, sir, I have like two questions which are left. I mean, I have like clubbed many of them together because I'm getting the answers. That's why. Okay. So now it's like, how do you see the future of tech, and what all changes you see that in the industry will be happening in a while, maybe in 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line? Maybe I've seen that you are also getting into data science these days, and so how do you see I mean tech industry changing day in day out? One is that one, and what are the technologies, new technologies, latest trending technologies which you see will be kind of like new normal in next 5 to 10 years down the line?
I will. I mean, speaking about tech is a separate topic within itself. Let me try to kind of summarize it at a very high level of what we are,
Yeah,
what at least I
yeah,
look after. There's a lot of technology which is available, which keeps on innovating. Keep on coming up. Cloud is definitely a game changer going ahead. If you talk about 3 years or 5 years or 10 years in that essence, people will transition from on-premise to cloud at some point in time. There will be certain segments which will stay. So definitely, for someone who is into tech, should be aware of what is cloud all about. Should be having some kind of exposure and hands-on with one of the cloud partners. If you know one of the cloud partners, then it is about optimizing and understanding what is the difference between, you have a benchmark, then you can relate and you can kind of improve your learning in that aspect. Okay, a lot of things become similar, and then it becomes easy for someone who is learning, becomes essential. Automation does add as a key criteria or an objective in any organization these days, whether they can automate a process, whether they can automate testing, whether they can automate some of the development stuff. A lot of tools are coming up wherein you no longer need a coder to do basic stuff. Even someone who is hands on with building workflows can build a product, even to that extent of building mobile applications. So
yeah,
those tools are coming up, which is kind of sorting things problem. A lot of platform, one of let's upgrade being one of the platforms, is training people at the junior level kids who are now learning programming in that essence from day one. When I started, it was more of games and writing certain programs, but today they are learning programming languages which we started after 10th or 12th in that essence. So technology is moving fast, and technology is going to kind of be changing and questioning us every time and again. If we feel that we have built something and we are now stable, technology is going to come and question that you are now outdated, you need to upgrade. So
Yes.
it's going to be a constant reminder in that essence. So that way, the industry, every industry is going to face this problem, including education. Look at education, how it has the industry has transformed. We all were used to closed room tutoring by people, and anything outside of that never worked for us. We had tuition classes, we had NITs, we had aptechs, we had a lot of institutions, known institutions. If you don't do courses from there, you are not a tech guy. That is what this
Yeah.
thing is. But the people that today they are coming, the entire evaluation metrics for a developer has changed. If you're looking at a senior person, you're looking at how many Git contributions that guy has done, to the
Correct.
open source community. That's one of an important metric that is turning up. It's not that what you built in your organization, but what is you have contributed to the community back. That's an important key metric. So a lot of evaluation metrics for a person are going to change, and it is essential for us in the technology forum to be aware of it and to start accepting it and working in that direction. So that's one thing that is happening. Education, like I said, has been changing. Who would have thought that logging into a online forum and having a person speaking up, explaining you concepts, and then at the same time trying to get evaluated then and there itself on an online exam and getting your score instantly within the matter of seconds. I mean, when I started, I never would have imagined this was even possible. So you never know. Today, I am into doing my data science course in an online forum, and that's how it is. And the examples that they are taking are very much practical. We always learned concepts of technology either by shape or animals or car, vehicles, and those things. Today,
And
they are speaking about politics as an example for teaching concept. They are taking Bollywood or Hollywood as an example to explain how the hierarchy works, how the concept works of marketing and other stuff. So a lot of practicality has come into the education, which is very good for us. I
yes.
am not saying what we learned was wrong, but I am saying that the education industry is slowly adopting. We are not that fast. Other countries have already adopted a lot of latest things. We are going through a slow and tedious process, but institutions like LetsUpgrade being one of them, and there are other institutions, they are kind of shaping up the industry to kind of make things practical in nature. That's what helps, because one of the core things that I never understood, if I never understood something, it is because no one told me the rationale of why it was that way.
Yes.
So very essential. Code karna hai, product build karna hai. Yes, understood. Why do I need to build a product? I mean, there are 10 more products in the market. Someone has to
Yes.
explain that rationale. Why do I have to use this technology and not that technology? These
Yes.
are the sort of questions which these communities are now addressing, and which is probably helping the students positively also, because they are now understanding why they are doing certain things. We all did it because we either want to earn a job or earn a good salary. Those were the key criteria when you look into that. But now that change is happening in that education industry to bring in these alignments, do it for the right purposes. And forum gives the flexibility that a student gets. If he didn't understand something during a session, he has an opportunity to go back, download the session, look at it again, come back with questions. If you have the intent, those feasibilities are now possible, in that essence. So it gives a great that's the biggest change that is going to help a lot of students who take it in the right direction, who have the intent to pursue. So that's one of the big things that I see it is happening in the industry, and which is very important for us. That's how, because the generation that is coming up of students, they are quite smart enough. They are way
Yes.
ahead of what we started. There is nothing to feel bad about it. It is good only that they are faster, because they will only come up and help you rebuild stuff that you once thought were good, and they will
Yes.
do it. They will do it good. They will do it in the right way, and that's what is written. Automation is another aspect. Now slowly things are getting up. Automatically coding stuff. and building the prototypes have become a very normal part today. So
Yes,
that's
yes,
the aspect that you should have that thought process. Whether you are able to achieve it immediately or 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, it's fine, or 5 years down the line, it's fine. Having that thought process is important. So all of these things I am currently seeing in couple of industries, education also being one of them, and that's what is kind of in our industry also we are looking out into, how we can implement those stuff. So those are certain things which I feel, uh, uh, the industry should continue to do, and we need to. One of the biggest probably mistakes the education system within India, probably according to me, it's my individual opinion, was that we took time to adapt to the
yeah,
realistic need of the industry. We took time. It's not that we didn't do it. We took time to adopt. Most of our curriculums were outdated by the time we realized that they need change. There were minor changes happening now and then, but they were not actually creating that impact, which kind of caused the need for tuition classes or mentoring, because they were so outdated. The tuition classes, what they capitalized on, they kind of capitalized on teaching the concepts differently,
yeah,
taking real life
yeah,
examples. Teachers also used to do that, but then the perception changed and they started facing their challenge. Not that our teachers didn't teach us that. So all these things matter a lot when you kind of look at the industry and how it has evolved over a period of time. So nowadays, teachers are also being compelled, to give exams, certify themselves, kind of look into that. We never used
yeah,
to came to such thing existed, but kind of gives a sense, yeah, and comfortness, yeah, they are. If I have to speak about data science, I should be certified also, kind of. Otherwise, who will listen to me saying that, what do you know about data science? You don't know anything about it. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
essential to be qualified for certain skill sets, and the industry is definitely helping all of us. So I am also a beneficiary in this regards through the online courses that go into a lot of free stuff. Like you also mentioned, you offer a 7 day free program for getting the basic stuff. I mean, the basic is good to start. Someone to evaluate. What is it that I should get into? Oh, this is
yeah,
something I find it interesting. This is something I find it interesting. So out of the seven things, I can look at two. So instead of paying for the seven things, I can pay for two. That's a choice
yes,
now.
yes, yeah. That's what. I mean, I would like to just drop in the next question right away because you are connecting lines. So, what do you think, sir? I mean, our whole vision and the mission of this whole Let's Upgrade is all about like having a no commitment to the lowest commitment model. It's like first try out in our essentials program and all 7 days and all, and then I mean, you once you build that project, once you get your hands into that 7 days in a particular technology, then you start learning with our full stack programs and all. And what do you think about this whole mission and vision of like us getting into and training more than 300,000 right now and more 6 lakh people by next year, April 2022? So, what do you think about this whole thing? And if at all you have any suggestions for us also, what would be that? So, I just wanted to know that part.
Yeah, one thing I found very interesting about Let's Upgrade is the community. Like I said, networking and having that community itself is very important. So my only suggestion is don't lose the community vertical that you guys have. That's very important because people can come back, look at what is happening. People like me can come and look what is the current set of students trying to learn,
Yeah,
and where they are headed. It gives opportunity to a lot of people to connect with each other. A lot of times I connect with institutions to tell them what the industry actually needs, or when I am actually hiring for my own team, what is it that I'm actually looking into that candidate. So it's essential that these forums does exist, opportunities to learn does exist, but it is also essential that we don't repeat the same mistakes that we earlier did, or probably people who tried to educate us did. We shouldn't get outdated. We should try to keep up with the industry.
yes,
How to keep up with
yes,
the industry is trying to stay connected with people who are there in the industry, who are seeing 2 years, 3 years down the line, which I believe you guys are doing, and which kind of resonates from your site, your content, and the kind of stuff that you are doing. Interacting with someone like me. You also interacted with Mr. John in the first episode. In
yes,
that so these kinds of things are coming up, and I can see a lot of relevant questions when I go back to the YouTube video and see that people are asking those questions also. So these things matter because then that helps you guys to evolve. So as far as your current mission statement, I feel awesome about it. It kinds of is setting the right tone for the students. It's up to them now to kind of take the benefit of it, and you challenge themselves to reach their maximum potential.
Yeah.
The stuff is available, the support is available, the help is always available. Now it is up to you how you want to solve the problems. So it
Yeah.
kind of puts the ball back into their court to kind of question themselves. Now no one can complain, I don't have this, I don't have that, in that essence. Uh, I'm not saying that people potentially complain, but people generally hit that as a roadblock. Okay, ये नहीं हो रहा है, अभी मैं क्या करूँ? So that challenge is slowly getting solved. So which is one of the biggest things that I feel that you guys should continue to do.
100%.
I also
100%.
see that the content that you are building is obviously a lot towards. It's not the traditional content; it is the content for the next set of years to come by. So, which is also very very important. Which is also very good thing. Which helps us kind of give me an indication that the industry is catching up to what is going to happen next, not catching up to the current. Having
Yeah.
current stuff is important, but catching up to the next thing is far more important than what you are going to have. At some point in
100%.
time, you will face a challenge that you don't have enough submissions to a particular vertical out of the seven. But then that's fine, because at some point in time, stuff like blockchain will might not catch up immediately. They might definitely catch up after a year or so, when we start understanding its real life implications on the products and other verticals within various companies also. So essentially, very important, good scope for candidate students who have already joined on those courses. It depends how your interest area also matters. So obviously they will have to kind of the best part of Let's Upgrade, it kind of helps me kind of collaborate. It kinds of create an opportunity to collaborate with people from a different space, people from different thought process. Certain times discussing with or speaking to them brings you a lot of different thoughts in your mind. How do you solve the problem? So that's also very essential and very important. And for Let's Upgrade, I think it's more of to see. I'm pretty sure you guys must be doing this, but to understand that what your students are actually, the students who are coming up, what they are actually trying to think through. You might be getting a lot of cold calls wherein people inquire and they don't join up. But don't lose that data point. Try to see whether there is a feedback loop coming out of it,
Yeah.
on the need probably which has not been looked upon or requires attention. If you have that data point that there is nothing missed out, it's fine. But I think that will help back the students also. I'm pretty sure some students must have come up with this feedback when you guys have internally discussed and chatted around.
100%.
Yeah, but then that's what is kind of important. And as far as students are concerned, there is no age or there is no years of experience where someone will come and tell you that हो गया बस हो गया जितना सीख लिया. That doesn't happen. uh,
Yeah.
After 14 or 15 years, I still feel that learning something is important. Even if it is learning a guitar, it is important. Even if it is learning a new technology, it is important. It's only when we defy to learn is when we are kind of defining the downline of our own career also.
Career.
It's a
Yeah.
calculative call that anyone can take, because after certain age you will see that okay, now enough, now I want to focus on other priorities. That's fine. But at early ages, when you are trying to build your career, when you are trying to learn, and when you are trying to reach a certain stage, it's essential that you keep on learning. Don't expect the learning to come from the organizations that you actually enroll into. The learning is essential. Whether the organization contributes to that learning or not is the choice of the organization, because a lot of
Yeah.
organizations are competitive. They will expect skills in hand, and if you are not skilled enough, they will replace you for sure. They will not wait for you. And there are enough options. Like you said, you have so many students with you enrolled. Similarly, there are many students, there are many working professionals who are looking at every now and then at various job opportunities. So organizations does have a lot of option. It's up to you how you keep on learning. So it is very essential. Keep on reading. If you're not a book reader like me, keep on reading small stuff. A small article for 5 minutes matters. It gives you perspective. You can bookmark it. whenever you hit a situation, go back and look at the bookmarked article to see how you have to progress. A lot of product based companies are coming up with their own engineering sites. So especially to name what I generally look out is Swiggy having their own engineering blog portal exposed to everyone on what are the decisions that they take, how they are. Uber does that, Airbnb does that. Keep on looking at how systems are being built, large systems which we are users today. Every at in
Yeah.
some point of
Yeah.
time we are learning. So look at this. These use cases can be discussed in practical session rooms within the within the course curriculum. On discussing on what they did, what are the pros that they could design, and what are the cons that they could have identified, and how do students look into it. So those practical documentation and everything is already available on what industries have tried till now, what has worked from them, what has worked not worked for them. These are now documented and available for everyone. That's one of the biggest thing for the education industry to look into. If we don't look into it, then there is a this thing that we are only speculating on stuff that we understand and we know. So it is essential to look at them and take the learning. So that's another thing which I feel that which will help the industry and even for Let's Upgrade to kind of keep the interest area with the students. When you take up those examples, they can relate to it. They'll also try to get more engaged in that direction. So that's what I was thinking about when this question came up in that essence side.
100%, 100%. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So, I mean, like, this is one of the best, I think, input which I have got for Let's Upgrade right now. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Now we are near about to our whole, I mean, interviews end. So I will be like, I have two questions with me right now. Okay,
Okay.
so one of the question is, as a CTO, what skills you would like to see in the interview applicant who just change the stream like non-coding or non-automation industry to automate. So like for example, I mean to just streamline this question, sir. Like what are the skill set you are looking towards from applicant side as a CTO, if at all you are taking in for a data science role? I think my screen is getting stuck or something.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the you got the question, sir. The like the
Yeah, I got the question.
Madhura is
I got
asking.
I got the question. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got the question.
yeah.
So two aspects to it. When I'm looking at a candidate, I obviously am looking at if that's the role that what I'm looking out for. Where the candidates comes in and is want to he's looking at automating a lot of stuff. First is his skill set to kind of identify the need of automation at what place. There will be 100 use cases within a company where automation can kick in. What is his prioritization metrics on choosing which one to add most, and how does he try to identify that? Is it on intuition, or is it at looking at the holistic perspective and saying, okay, according to me 1 2 3 matters, 4 5 6 can step in? What I would look out is a candidate who comes back and tells me that I will come back to you on priority 1, 2, and 3, but my decisions will be data driven and not very subjective in nature, because data driven product development and data driven automation is what will justify, because you need to justify everything that you do. Those days wherein you can count on someone's intuition or gut, those days are kind of left behind. So I will be looking out on how does that rationale come up, building stuff, the right skill to use, the right models to use, whether those models applies or not. All of this will be there will be some kind of experimentation. We have also done that. We have done a lot of experimentations when I was working in Book My Show for the data team. There are a lot of experimentations that we did on small use cases, but what actually mattered was which use cases did we choose. So I also look for the same things in the candidate when he comes with an approach saying that he's interested in automating stuff, solving the problems in that essence. So that one of the
Got it.
criteria. So base your decisions on data and not just subjective. Subjective does matter. Your suggestions does matter, but only when they are equally backed up and justified by data also. There has to be very little
Got
quotient of feeling and intuition saying that I think that this is the right thing. The think part should be very less. The data part should be more, at least.
Got it, sir. Got it. So, thanks a lot for this input, sir. And I have one more question here, coming in from, Pratima. So, Pratima is asking this question: how do you select which is the next technology you should get into and you should learn as a CTO? I mean, how do you select? I mean, which technology? You mentioned that road mapping and all. So, how are you selecting that? I mean, what is the next technology that I am going to learn right now? This is challenging.
Uh, the question is very specific to the industry that I work upon and the products that I work upon.
Yeah.
What are the current challenges that I am facing in the product? Certain times it is related to costing, certain times it is related to the user experience out of it, certain times it is about the performance on is there a better way to save cost and earn better performance. That has been the real parameters for evaluating on what is the next technology. You might be we have selected RDBMS SQL as our core persistent storage. So to put it in technical terms, is that the right thing going forward? The answer to that question relies on two parameters: whether I can bear the cost of hosting that on the cloud, and whether it can help me achieve the same performance or not, so that my user experience doesn't get impacted. So that kind of is kind of an indication on what is the technology used. Now, coming back to which technology exactly to use comes always with a small POC done on identifying specific use cases and generating that kind of a load and testing out the parameter. This is a very common approach that we generally follow, and which we have been following for quite some time. We do a small POC on the tech that we feel is right. We choose one or two options in that line, and then we try to do a user experience testing on seeing on which one will yield better results. And then we put our faith and we try building stuff on that. That kinds of gives us a quantitative approach rather than being subjective and just looking at the community. Because a community, when we look at the feedback on the community online, those feedbacks vary from use cases to use cases. So what applies to you and your products will be different from what there, unless and until the use cases are very same, which hardly happens. With two companies having serving the same industry and the same kind of product, also the use case differs when their internal architecture differs. So there is no one straight handbook answer to this question. But yes, definitely, first identify that what are your problem statements that you want to solve, whether it is cost, whether it is experience, whether it is performance, whether it is the environment that your customer can give, whether it is cloud, on premise. Then take these parameters, choose one or two, read about it, choose one or two technologies which you feel that can be a solution to these problem statements, put them across through a small POC, evaluate these parameters on a predefined load or predefined user data, look at the data that comes up, discuss it, and certain times you bet your risk saying that, okay, the results for this technology and technology A and B are almost similar, but considering that the skill and popularity within the community, we are choosing technology B instead of A. That can also be a decision metric. Okay, so we recently chose to adopt to Google's Flutter for building one of our mobile applications. It's hardly a year or two that the community has started building. We started during before the COVID time, so we have all been always thrown back this question. A lot of time it comes to me also from within the products. Did we choose right? There was React, which was kind of stable, which was 4 or 5 years old. So did you make a right choice? The answer to that question is, at that time in moment, we did our own POC. We found that there was a negligible difference in terms of performance. It applied for your use case. We had a skill which was skilled employees who were ready to adopt to that technology and build over it. Okay, as compared to people who we had to hire from the industry and then bring in, which had its own lead time. So we chose that technology. So probably the only differentiation factor was that I had a team who was ready to adopt and kind of build upon it. And it did come up. See, we were not betting on some technology which was not equally backed up. It was backed up by Google. We knew that somewhere, some point in time, we will get a stability in that product. And fortunately, a week ago, we got the news that it has reached its stability also. So the decisions largely report on this. We did our POC for sure. So our feedback and decision was not just on the fact that it was backed up by Google or it is 1 or 2 years old. It was backed up the fact that the app which we are going to build, whether the technology will support it or not.
Got it.
So that is the approach. So that is the approach that is the safe approach. there are a couple of risky approaches also where you can look at the community and take the decision in a matter of time. That approach is also possible, but my preferred approach is generally on the tech side is in this direction.
Amazing, so amazing. That actually like I mean, in a real time, first use it. If it is solving our problem, yes or no. If it is solving, then go ahead with that. That's an amazing approach. What and that actually indicates us that what's the next technology, which I think even we should get into it. And based upon the requirements, what we are being coming across, that's the point. Amazing. So that's an amazing part of it. So yep. So here I mean formally kind of like end this interview. It's a long interview. So just be there, and
Yeah, I'll be there.
okay. So hey guys, thanks a lot for attending our episode 2 of I Inspire series, and Swaminathan sir from being a gamer to now a CTO. So that's what I mean in one line. If I have to tell, about him. So starting from a company, ShawMan Softwares. From there, I mean now he's back again to ShawMan Softwares, being a CTO. That's an amazing thing. So I mean admire you for that. I mean like you been with that company even in the highs and lows and everything. And when you even mentioned about the remuneration part, and then even sticking with the company, and then I mean now racing to a point of like leading one of the what we say. There is a thing, right? Either you can be a kind of what we see, what do you say, a parasite kind of like I mean which is attached to the even host itself, and it becomes a part of the host then. Okay, so it's something like a phenomena where I mean you started with a very small basic building block, and now you are the block there. So that
Imagine the situation that a lot of people within the company with whom today I work with, at some point in time they kind of mentored me and bring me this stage, and today to welcome me and my thought process and trying to support me in trying of building that's the very good that's something that an organization over the period and with the maturity and obviously with the leadership of the company which heads by Mr. Jimmy, that kind of thought process gets inculcated, and we have good mentors. I mean, some of them have taught me and helped me in my difficult times, and today I am able to come back and bring in that knowledge and share with them. That's the biggest experience that you can have within a company in that essence, and that kinds of triggers why loyalty comes in place. When you have those kind of people and environment who kind of support you, that's what startups should also focus upon. In the essence of moving so fast, at times it becomes these things become less relevant. They realize it late, but then I think that's one thing I always liked about this company, which today I can say kind of motivates me also in that essence.
amazing, sir. Amazing story. I mean, from the likes, dislikes to, I mean, even what we said, you mentioned upon the learning part. And we will make sure that we are updating every day, in, day out, and let's upgrade. Also, like we ourselves, what we teach to students, 100% we will do. And yeah, so we will be discussing just once our live just completes. So people are like thanking you a lot. So thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for being here. And yeah, so hey guys, I mean, bye bye. Take care. Have a nice day. We will be meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time also. I mean, it's important for you guys that you spared, and I hope kind interacting with you and sharing the experience helps you all somewhere on the line. You can definitely write back, reach out to me anytime for
Yeah.
any question that happens.
So Swami sir is available on LinkedIn, and the people, all the guys. I mean, you guys can go and search about Swaminathan sir, and you will mention. You just write down Shaw Softwares and ShawMan Softwares, and you will get him directly there. Okay, so that's, and even you can search in My Connects, and you will find him. So.
Yeah.
Yep, guys. So thank you. Bye bye, and take care. We will be meeting in our upcoming sessions. And yes, bye bye, guys. I mean, Prasad, we can take this session offline.